Okay, I'm back. I am live. We are doing a meta tier list. I might not have access to things like stream chat. Oh, good. I do have some access. Hopefully, that stays active. My view is not really being very responsive on technical stuff. Let's not worry about it too much. So far, what I had begun to say is I think Jarl is probably going. We're going to start with Jarl around B tier. I think that Jarl is going to be really impactful into Draconic heroes if you can get rid of their equipment early game. If you ever had an experience where, as like a Katsu player, if you're like me and you've got the disease, and you've like had Tomultai destroy your Mask of Momentum early game, that can be pretty devastating. And so I think that like against a Syndra to get rid of their Flick Knives or their Mask of Momentum. What up, Matt? Okay, good. We are live. We are getting some reactions. Thank you so much. It's good to see you. Yeah, Matt, I'm saying Jarl's B tier for now. I went over it a little bit more earlier, but just those are my initial thoughts. You're going to be able to prey on some of the more meta relevant heroes if you can get early game success. You are also going to be able to play fatigue in this meta. We will get into that. We will talk about some heroes that I think can get over the barrier, can go aggressive enough to get past that, and heroes that I think cannot. So we're going to start with Jarl somewhere around B tier. And then Riptide, I was saying that Riptide is going to be a hero to just kind of see where lists land. There's a bunch of different ways that you can run Riptide. But if we have a ton of Arachne, thought you might like to hear everyone in my Discord calls it Channel Mount Butthole now. I mean, that's definitely what it is, right? I can't even see that card without seeing the other images circling around online. But yeah, that sounded awful. But we're talking about Riptide, and Riptide I don't think will be awful. The young woman who was at the register today for our armory heard I was playing Riptide and was like, Riptide will never be good. And I disagree, but I don't think Riptide will ever be the best deck. However, I definitely think that with the amount of like reactions, the amount of warriors we might have in the meta, I think it's safe to say that Riptide is probably not the worst pick. So I think around here is like this is like players will bring these heroes, right? These heroes will show up because they deserve to be there. So maybe I can do like B showing up, A top 8 going to nationals. And then this is like low representation, and this is like don't bother. I have to abbreviate because that's just going to kill me seeing that. Okay, so I think, like it's kind of hard to see like where Riptide ultimately will like be here. I don't think it'll be lower, but I don't really know what the best list is for countering this upcoming meta, even though I made a video that was like called like counter the upcoming meta with Riptide, and it's a list that I just really like. But if I'm being honest, it is not my favorite. Boltyn S tier, dude. I love you, buddy. I'm happy that you're still loving Boltyn. I love Boltyn. So you want to talk about Boltyn? I gotta say, I think Boltyn is going to be low representation And I think Bolton probably deserves to be low representation because there is going to be, I'm not hating on Bolton, there's going to be a lot of reactions in this meta. There's going to be a lot of reactions. There's going to be a lot of D-reacts. So attack and D-react. I don't think that really is very good for Bolton. Also, Bolton does now have a new card that is really good for Bolton's toolkit. Here's two thoughts. One, it pushes you to lean more towards a Raiden build, which is flavorfully awesome, but is bad for competing because the best heroes in the game right now are going to be ninjas. And we'll go into that more. But to beat ninjas, Bolton needs to run sabers. You can't get by on your just Raiden getting an extra +2, triple Lumina. Like it, sabers is the way to go. The other problem is that card targets two decks very specifically. One of them is not the best deck anymore, but probably was one of the best decks. And the other one is kind of MIA, and I'm not totally sure where Prism's going to end up, right? So Bolton's new card is cool. I don't honestly know the Warrior pool well enough to know how, like, where Bolton gets support in the commons and rares of this set, but so much of them is dagger specific that I think that Bolton is low representation, probably not a good choice to bring to this upcoming meta. Now, I did mention ninjas, and I might as well get it out of the way. Don't bother playing Katsu. Katsu is one of the heroes in the camp of aggressive, but will not be able to get over the barriers. What I mean by that is this new D-React and new boots kill Katsu dead. It doesn't matter that you have this new cool way of dishonor or other combo lines. I've played a lot of different lists. I'm always tweaking that list. I think it's like kind of close, but it's not even as close as it needs to be to bring it to an RTN, if I'm being honest. This is not the deck to bring. Yeah, it doesn't look like he'll use any of that might be true, but he might run Puncture. Puncture is the only card that I could see him bringing, just to. You force an opponent to block with an attack so that you can get go again. You automatically remove a card from their hand. And it's just a way that you can run blues. And on turns where you pitch for take flight, like maybe it's good. Anyway, talking about Katsu now. Katsu can't get over the barrier presented by the new D-React. I don't mean the 0 for 4 element, though that's obviously a huge thing to consider when you're playing Katsu. Like, if there's ever a time where everyone's on 3 Fates, 3 Sinks, 3, Shelter of the Storm, like Shelter from the Storm, that's not like a great meta, but the ability of Shelter from the Storm to just prevent the next one damage that you would be dealt 3 times. I want to be clear that that's not about Kodachis. That's about breaking scales and ancestral empowerment. And on top of that, the new reaction boots. It's just like someone was saying today that they think that the way that Katsu could still be good is when your opponent activates boots, you just break the chain. And I was like, that's not how that works because the boots are still around. And as Katsu, you just lose value from breaking the chain. And they were like, okay, well, then you just pass. And I was like, well, then you're losing that game. And that was a bit of a harsh way to put it. But if you can imagine a piece of equipment that just says destroy this, your opponent loses a turn. Like, pay one resource, your opponent loses their turn. It ends your opponent's turn. Like, that's what this person was kind of not directly suggesting, but that's kind of what it meant. And I was like, Katsu's dead. I would love to be proven wrong, but I'm not wrong. Katsu's dead. So who is alive? Obviously, Zen is alive. Zen is the best deck in the format prior to the Hunted coming out, and Zen will be the best deck in the format after the Hunted is out for all of one weekend. And then Zen will LL. Maybe it takes 2 weekends, but Zen needs only about 80 points, and I think that's like I think they can easily. Honestly, if you want to go to Nationals and you don't know what deck to play, but you're able to make it to week 1, just bring Zen. Yes, people are going to be targeting you, but just every turn, do the math, figure out what the biggest line that you can present is. And I would say bring your wax on and wax offs, right? Bring wax on, wax off. Bring tide flippers. Bring AB1. No more than that. And just you're gonna cover a few rune chants, but ultimately you're just gonna race them, and then eventually try and hit that wax on, wax off for a Zen state, and you're gonna win, right? So I think Zen is great. Also, because Zen runs the wax on, wax off package, you have bonus value in other Ninja matchups and other Cheerios matchups. Gotta make sure everything's okay here. Getting a bunch of texts. Nope, they're fine. Everyone, make sure you're if you're in somewhere cold, make sure that your water's running so your pipes don't freeze. Okay. I'm gonna go for a hot take here. There is a hero that I think is completely unplayable that used to be at probably A tier, probably high A tier. People for a while were saying they were going to be S tier. And I think that once it's very similar to Katsu, just the ability to cover like an additional point of damage at instant speed makes them, or additional 3 points of damage, right? I think that this next hero just like folds because of that. RTN points are given out on a weekly basis, I believe. Maybe something has changed, but it is not a full season, right? Like we do get updates throughout the week. So if Zen does surpass 1,000, they will get LL'd, Matt. At least that's how it has been. But this next hero that I think is like really almost unplayable now, I think Dio is terrible. I think Dio's terrible right now. Losing high octane, 3 extra D reacts in everyone's board, and instant speed or reaction speed equipment. Now you can run like a 9-bone Dio list and then try and get your boom grenades through that way. But there are 2 cards that many lists will have to run right now in their like majestic 2-for-6s, which is a race face, which will take out it will take out Aurora, it will take out Florian, it will take out all of the Draconic heroes, and it will absolutely shit on boost heroes, right? Boost heroes get it the worst because they can't really get go again without class and talent type. So I expect people to have a lot of erase faces in their board, much more than last meta, because Mistveil heroes don't really care about it. The other thing we can expect them to have in their board is the weakest link, because Mistveil heroes are still a thing, and Dash does have to run no blocks. So I think Dash is just completely plummeting. Gibbous, I'm sorry. I'm sorry if you're a Dio main. I hope I'm wrong. But I really do think Dio is just I think Dio's just unplayable right now. I do think if you're looking for a hero to play, and you like this aggro style and you miss attacking 6 times with your weapon, Syndra is going to be insane. I don't know that Syndra is better than Zen. And I'm sure some of you guys probably saw, I imagine some people here may have seen the Week We Make Best video going over a combo that I don't think is going to be the primary way of playing Syndra. It's a cool combo, and I just don't see it being what people absolutely like gravitate to. It's a Mask of Momentum list, and the reason is you have to know how the Flick Knives interaction works. So let's say Chain Link 1. I send a dagger to you, and you let the dagger hit. Chain Link 2. I send a dagger to you. You don't let the dagger hit, but I flick Chain Link 1's dagger. I have 2 hits on those chains. So my next attack action, if I play an attack action then, and it hits, it will trigger Mask. So a lot of people used to have this idea where it was just block the second Kodachi. Flick Knives ninjas don't play by those rules. And that is going to mean that, look, Syndra has 5 intellect because of Mask of Momentum. Like, Syndra is going to be hitting a lot of Mask of Momentum triggers. If you are playing a Mystic hero and for some reason you took Passover out of your list, you're going to want to put it back in. Banishing even one of those daggers is very good. If you're on Vincent, bring out Invert Existence. I don't even know. I can't think of other cards that really do this other than like Talisman of Cremation if you're playing from Banish Zone. But what you really need to do if you're like playing against a Syndra, I don't know. Actually, I don't know what you really need to do. You need to play an equally powerful hero. But if you're playing Syndra, you need to know that it is the wrong thing to do to leave your daggers in your graveyard for the end of the turn. You will almost always be able to re-equip them. On like a blue pitch, you can usually, as long as you have an extra chain link, like, or if you have sorry, you need to destroy them with Flick Knives, right? But you just, point being, don't leave your daggers in your graveyard. Got to be re-equipping them because those small windows where people do take them out will hurt you. But think about this. Phi is going to be fine. Like imagine a Phi line, except they lose their Phoenix Flame. It's still pretty good, right? Like, I think that Syndra is going to be, one of the best decks. It's going to be better than Phi. I'm a bit rambling here because I haven't played enough Syndra, but I have played against a good Syndra player. And once you go down to like 4 life, like, forget about Kodachi lock. You're like, oh, I've lost the game. Like, there's Syndra making her daggers back and getting to flick them is something that is just like awesome, but you're dead. Once you get that low, you cannot get like sub 10 life against Syndra. I mean, obviously you're going to, but you got to be really careful. What do we want to talk about? Do we want to talk about an assassin now? What kind of assassin should we talk about? Should we talk about one of the 3 Arachnes? let's talk about the 3 Arachnes. I think both Slippy and Marionette are really good. Unfortunately, Slippy is like probably down here and Marionette's probably up here because Slippy is really, really good. Like, Slippy is really good. I haven't even tested the deck. I haven't even seen it played, but I've just gone over the lines. I've looked at what the deck does. I'm thinking this deck is going to be very good. However, they start at 38 life and they fold in their assassin matchups. There's just no way that you can convince me that Slippy's assassin kit or their stealth kit is going to be that much better than any other assassin. I also want to build a Slippy deck. If I'm building a assassin deck, to me it's going to be Slippy. Maybe I'll just make some tweaks and like bite the bullet. But quite frankly, I don't like this hero's like gimmick. I don't want to transform. I know that their hero abilities are good, but like I don't know. Like I don't want to change heroes. Like demi heroes are cool, but that's too much. Like I like the idea of working towards an end game where you transform, but I don't really like the idea of transforming like between turns. That's not to say that I think it's bad design. I haven't played with it, and I'm not inclined to say that it's like not well designed. I think it seems pretty cool, especially for introducing the chaos talent. Side note: I love that there are not chaos cards. I love it. I'm so happy about that. We have had so many talented sets back to back. It's nice to just kind of be like, no, this Slippy's Arachne's place in this like limited format in the triangle is they get to run assassin and warrior hybrid cards. That's their thing. Fang and Syndra can share draconic, assassin can share class. That's cool. Glad that chaos isn't really a thing. But as I was saying, I think that this is probably just going to be the better ability because you're not going to be giving your opponent an edge that you don't want to be doing. That's my take. I have seen these toxicity lines where you're flicking the attack action and you're, instant speed dealing, or not at reaction speed, you're just dealing 7. And those are definitely easiest in Slippy. I do think that those, who knows how reasonable those actually are, and maybe they're super reasonable in matchups against like Dash or Bolton, but when you're letting your opponent have go again on their first stealth card, you're gonna have a really hard time convincing me that you're gonna beat New, because New is just gonna go like, okay, here's a Bonds of Agony, and you're like, oh no, I really don't want you to take all my stuff. What's up, Capomello? So you're like, okay, I have go again on my infiltrate. You have go again on your Bonds of Agony. And they're holding their whole hand, and you're looking at Bonds of Agony, and you're like, well, I really want to play my infiltrate, so I can't just let you this hit. I've got to be prepared for reactions. And then they're like, What if instead I just threw a persuasive prognosis or whatever the persuasive prognosis? Like, go again, it's too much. We're talking about Arachnes right now. That's a good idea. We will add a row below. What color? Gray. Talking about Arachnes. So let's talk about this Arachne while we're here, right? What did this Arachne really get? Because like there's a lot of marking stuff, but marking doesn't really play with contract in like it does in that a lot of the additional effects of the stealth cards are based off of if they're marked and they involve some sort of banish from hand, banish from arsenal, right? They play that sort of like, oh, look, this is like leave no witness at home or surgical extraction at home. But I think that if you just like, if you did, like, there used to be this way of like playing Arachne. Like, I think one of the most played lists on Talishar is called Be Better Arachne, and it's just an Azuri list that runs some contract cards, right? I think that's one of the most played ones, right? And there used to be this way of playing Arachne where you would play a lot of contract cards and things like Shred, and like you could play CYB, and it was just like, okay, I want all my cards to come in with some banish effect, right? And so Hunter's Clave and the other marked cards help with that. But I just like, I don't see how Arachne. You know, I'm going to put Arachne here in C. Well, look, no one's going to play this. The only contract cards we got are cards that specifically target Feng and Syndra. And it's not like that great. There are some cool reactions. Like, I wonder if Arachne even runs enough stealth cards to run some of the reactions. I don't think this Arachne Huntsman is going to run the traps. And maybe, you know what? I am going to pull up. We're going to pull up here. Just real quick. We're going to have to take a look at, like, what did I miss? What did I miss in the Hunted? And I'm going to go quick. Yeah, I don't think this is best in slot for that Arachne, frankly. I run Mask of Perdition still. I don't think they get enough value off of Kiss of Death. They don't get enough value off of Under the Trapdoor unless you have like some crazy new trap Arachne. This is going to be hard for them to run. They don't run enough stealth cards. This is going to be in the list, but I don't even know if you run enough stealth cards for this to be in the list. So their Majestics didn't help at all, right? I'm not even going to go over the rest. Let's not spend any time on it. Arachne, don't bother playing that original Arachne. You have cool new Arachnes to play. Hell, you've got 7 other Arachnes. No, 8. So of the 9 Arachnes you could play, why play Huntsman? Okay, let's talk about another hero that's sort of in this Dio camp where, like, it's kind of unclear to me how they'll perform with these new cards. And so that's going to be Aurora. And I think Aurora's, like, probably, like, Aurora's definitely showing up. I don't think Aurora is nearly as good as she used to be because there's going to be so much disruption. Like, don't, oh my God. I don't even know how to say this. Just don't play a hero that has like no blocking value in a meta that's like constant. Like every hit is like mark. Following hit is like if they're marked, banish a card from their hand. Also mark them. Like it's going to be really hard to play Aurora. And then on top of this, your combo turn. The best like way like the combo turn works, like in my opinion, is when the first Arc Lightning will ping for a channel the Lightning Valley. So I'm willing to give you my if I don't have a lot of AB, if I have a blue that blocks 2, I'll absolutely pitch it to cover that. But if not, like that new D react does a pretty good job of like taking care of it. So I don't I don't really think it's just that she like can't block. I think it's just like she can't block, and people have better ways of dealing with what she does. And frankly, I've always thought this hero was kind of bad. When Zen exists, like, why play this? And I get it. Like, I've lost to Auroras that just like blow me out of the water. But I just don't like. I don't love this hero. I don't think it's as good as people have given it credit for. Obviously, it's put up some numbers, but I think that it's going to. I think it's going to go down significantly. I still think it's better than Slippy. I actually do think you're probably better off if you have a good Riptide list. If you're a competent Riptide player, maybe this is a crazy take, but I think you might be better off bringing Riptide just because like everything in the top tiers is going to be triggering your traps. So like maybe if you have a super disruptive Riptide and you have a meta that's all just like Zen and Syndra, like maybe you could probably do better than Aurora. All right, guys. Rhinar got better. Rhinar got better because fatigue is better. I mean, fatigue, Rhinar is probably not going to win any RTMs, but it is a deck that can be run, and just having more ability to show up is better. I'm also saying it got better because of Scowling Fleshbag. Having that equipment against an aggro meta, really good, right? Rhinar got better. Rhinar's not great. That's where I'm at there. You guys want to talk about warriors? Is Rhinar, though? I feel most people just outrate him because they don't want to block anyways. I think that the best Rhinar is just going to be running 3 sinks. Maybe this could just be because I played against one today. I played against my buddy Vinny. Vinny was on 3 Sync Belows, 3 Faith Scenes, 3 Unmovables, 3 Oasis Respites. Guess what fucking card is going in that deck? Like, there's no way that Shelter from the Storm doesn't go in that deck. If that's your approach, then, like, yeah. So the whole point of that deck is just you block out, and then you line up a barraging beatdown and a, one barraging beatdown and the whatever the Rhinar spec from Heavy Hitters will do, like, pretty good because you just got to pitch. So that's 3 cards you keep in your hand. You've intimidated basically either the barraging beatdown or the Rhinar's specialization. One of them will trigger because either they have no cards in their hand, in which case they've probably given you 2 cards, and so barraging beatdown is turned off, or they don't give you 2 cards, in which case barraging beatdown is turned on. So like Rhinar is going to have some more playability. I'm not really sure if I even think Rhinar is better than Bolton. I don't think Rhinar gets off scab skins. Mainly because I don't think that's the psychographic, the demographic. I don't know. That's not what a Rhinar player's head. They're not there, right? They might like to they might be comfortable playing a slow game and just waiting you out and finding a window where they hit you, but they're not giving up their boots. That's just not happening. W Bolton, he's on the come up. I don't know if I think Dio is worse than Bolton. I think Dio's worse than Rhinar. I don't know. Yeah, Rhinar. It's so hard to say Rhinar's good. Like Rhinar. I've lost to plenty of Reinhardts. There are good Reinhardt players out there, but sometimes the deck just beats itself. And what can you do about that? Like, you know, that's why KO is good. Which, speaking of, oh my god, I missed KO. No, I didn't. He's here. Talking about KO. No. Let's get Mistvale out of the way. What's up, Dylan? Let's get Mistvale out of the way, because I'm done talking about Mistvale. I'm so done with Mistvale. Okay. Maybe we need to make another tier above, and this is just called... Oh no, I made this one the wrong color. This one is going to be called LL Week 1. Zen's LLing Week 1. So, like, you don't have to worry. We're not going to worry too much about Zen talking about RTN meta for, like, the rest of this. Like, yes, Zen will show up and win Week 1. And then after that, like, Zen won't be there. So let's talk about that, because that's going to be the majority of it. Yeah, Bolton's definitely worse than Fang, and it's going to... Bolton's going to be worse than Fang. So let's talk about Enigma. I don't have as much faith as other people do that Syndra and others that we will talk about are just going to roll over Enigma. I don't know if you guys, like... I don't know. I like to say as a joke that losing on Enigma is a choice, right? And this comes from the fact that I'm a Vincent player. I love Vincent. I played Vincent at the most recent ProQuest season, right? After Rosetta came out, that was my hero. And everyone used to always be like, I bet you're super favored into Enigma. No, not at all. Because Vincent has to set up. Vincent also has to, like, do damage. And you can't really run a whole bunch of shadow non-attack actions. There's only so many of them. And you need them to be 0 cost. You need them to have go again, right? So Enigma just covers so much, right? So... I don't know. I think Enigma's still going to be, like, one of the best decks. I'm curious to see what tools she has for Syndra. I'm curious, like... I'll put it this way. There's a lot of decks that aren't going to be in this tier. And Enigma's going to beat most of them, right? I mean, you can beat Enigma on Riptide if you're on Dreadbore. You probably, I don't know, you can't beat Enigma if you're on Jarl. You just can't. I think Enigma's going to be a top deck. I think it's really hard for me to see a world in which, like, people were saying, like, oh man, we're going to have Enigma for another 8 months. Seems unlikely. I don't really know where she's at point-wise. Like, maybe she is at a place where that is possible. But I know she's probably higher points than New. She's definitely higher than New. It's definitely Zen, then Enigma, then New. And, like, guys, there's gonna be more support for Mistvale heroes in the next set. Like, they're not gonna just forget about Mistvale heroes. There's going to be an expansion card slot or something, which is sort of how I feel about Prism. Like, Prism, just, like, sometimes I'm like, all right, good. Their kit is done. We don't need to add more. And then it's like, oh, yeah, no, here's a new card. It gives your angels +4 and it blocks 3. Gives your next angel attack +4, blocks 3. I think that Enigma is still going to be a top deck. That's all I'll say for right now. What's an interesting one we can talk about? Acilio. Most of her points were from the CYB meta. CYB is still legal, just not blue. CYB is here to stay. Remember when they were like, hey, we're banning CYB because you guys won't stop whining about it, but just know that it's probably coming back because we're printing a bunch of hate for it, okay? That's next set. That's not this set, okay? That's like definitely... This set did not print CYB hate. It gave them generic boots at reaction speed and the ability to run 3 more sync belows. So it wasn't this set they were talking about when they said that CYB is going to be hated out. Don't worry. So yeah, Enigma still has CYBs, should be fine. Acilio. Acilio's really interesting. Acilio's really interesting. Blocks are shit. They're not even shit. They just don't exist. You just like half of your cards do not have a block value. I've played a lot of Acilio. I like Acilio a lot. I think Fang will probably like. Here's what I'm thinking. If you're playing against an Acilio and you're on Syndra, do you bother bringing Arcane Barrier in? Because I don't. Right? Like, I got this beautiful chess piece. I've got a Mask of Momentum. I've got Flick Knives. And I got gorgeous new boots that let me attack an additional time with my daggers. Why would I bring Arcane Barrier in? I can absolutely race you. On the flip side, that's a good place for Acilio to be. Like, because they probably can race you until your hand lines up, right? Like, my experience of Acilio is like this. I line up a Blast to Oblivion turn that just like melts your eyelashes. It's just like the most, I'm amping so much. And then I don't draw any arcane. But players who aren't me will draw arcane and they'll, you know, like we've seen on stream, is it Mark? I forget his name. I think it was Mark something. He beat Zen on stream. Yeah. Yeah, I think honestly you just race. I wouldn't bother. I'd race. So I'm gonna say that like Acilio's probably also definitely lower than these heroes. Definitely lower than these heroes. Because you know what? I'm totally forgetting about the fact that Assassin just everything's leave no witness now. So sorry, Acilio. It was a cool hand that you could have played. You could play it all out on my turn, but yeah. So Acilio's definitely going down a little. I don't even like people are like always say like, yeah, oh my god, Acilio, they definitely thought he was gonna have books. Definitely. I agree with that. I think probably thought Art of War too, all of that. But no, you're right. It's just like it's weird to think about that because you have to run Channel Thunder Valley. Or no, not Channel Thunder. You know the Aria one. The one that was the cold foil promo for skirmish season. That's the card that they wanted you to run that card. You know how like right now it's like Oath of Loyalty, I think is the card. It used to be terrible, puts a +1 counter every time you attack with your weapon. Well, now you're looking at Fang and you're like, dang, I got like basically every hand is like blood on her hands. Like, this is crazy. Maybe I just slap this in here. Every time I attack, I'm getting, additional damage and it stays on for the turn. Like, really good. But for the longest time, it was like, oh, that card's garbage because you can't play it in Dorinthia, the deck that cares about +1 counters, because they go away at the end of turn. So, like, I kind of feel like that's what they thought Acilio was going to have with Channel Thunderstep. They thought it was going to be a Channel Thunderstep renaissance. Let's talk about another hero. Talk about Vincent. Cool. Vincent got Call. Call is really, really, really good. I'm going to tell you how to beat Vincent right now. Pitch to the fucking arcane barrier and block the attack. Just do that. Like, yes, occasionally unpreventable damage, and I'll set up a turn, and I'll send an additional 12 afterwards. Great. But I have to commit a lot of resources to send 6 and 3, and I often have to spread it out across turns where it's like, okay, I'll have 6 and 3 here, and then I'll follow it up with another 6 and 3, and the first one you'll lose 1 life from arcane, and then that'll allow me to like do this, which will get rid of your arsenal, and at the end of the turn you'll get rid of something in your hand, right? Just cover that shit. I'm gonna fumble. I'm gonna fuck up eventually. Like, if you cover Vincent, you don't have to worry about succumb to temptation. That's just a way for them to get go again. So I think that like Vincent is really strong right now. I'm not saying Vincent's not. I'm saying that there are enough heroes that run blue cards and decent blocks that they should be. This is why Enigma is a problem for Vincent. She can just cover it. She'll cover it, right? And then it's like, okay, my off turn, I make 1 rune chant, I pass, and I lose a life. Your off turn, you make a spectral shield with a +1 counter, and now you swing for 2 for free and pass. That shield stays there. It's going to have 2 value like every turn for free with go again. My rune chant is a resource and it's a piece of damage, but they pop, they go away, right? So if you can just cover that stuff, you can, in Enigma, build up a board. I think a lot of heroes, like I played against Akatsu the other day, that it was just like, my brother in Christ, I know you got the blues. Come on, you gotta just pitch. You can't get greedy, because if you get greedy, I'm gonna disrupt you. So I think Vincent is better than Riptide. Vincent's not up here yet. Call is really good. Don't get me wrong. Call does not make it so that this deck is like the best deck. Because you also have to like cut. It is a very hard list to find out what you would cut for Call, and you can play Call at instant speed at times, but you only have like so many Eloquence token generators to like give that go again and really get the maximum value out of that. And then like Call is probably the most difficult card to use well in the game, because it always like you can do it and you're like, oh, I took a card from their hand, but it's like, if you really like want to go over play by play and like when to use Call, it's like, do you use it for the go again? Do you use it for banishing something so that you can play it? Do you do it at an instant speed? Like, maybe you let Syndra hit you with a flick knife and then you do it. Like, there's so many windows once you've taken damage that like to maximize, to optimize when the right time to play Call is. It's very challenging. Frankly, I'm probably not up to the task for running this in this current meta. We're going to talk about Victor. I think Victor got better. I think Victor's really good right now. Not really good. I think Victor is the best Guardian. I'm getting a ton of messages, so I just want to check these real quick, make sure everything's cool. Cool. Everything's good. Yeah. Yeah, I think Victor's getting better. I think that like new is still a problem, right? The assassins in general are probably also just a bit of a pain for Victor. But I do think Victor's probably just a little bit better than Jarl because you can be more aggressive and run disruption. Jarl does have more like turns. Like I've definitely played against a Jarl and it's like late game and I have given my equipment and I'm like, fuck. They're going to hit me with so much like frostbite or they're going to send this giant attack. And they like play an amulet of ice and I get one frostbite and I'm like, you're done. You're dead. Like, oh, that's beautiful. This, like, here we go. Amulet of ice is a bad example because you would pitch that probably in the, if but if they have like 2 cards in hand and then they play like a setup card and they arsenal card and you're like, I get 1 frostbite and nothing else, like, okay, I'll pitch through that. Like, yeah, I run blues. So I think Victor's probably around there. Let's talk about Ira. I've been updating the deck since I posted it recently. If you weren't aware, this is the most recent video. I posted a Ira deck list. I'm feeling pretty confident Ira's one of the best decks. Riptide will be... Oh. Dire Wolf. No, I think Riptide will be cool this meta. I think Riptide will be cool. OP? Maybe not OP. But Riptide will be a cool choice, cool meta pick. Talking about Ira right now, I think Ira is going to be one of the best decks. I threw a Zephyr Needle for 14 today. Zephyr Needle for 14. Yeah, that was sick. It was awesome. I just played 3 up sticks and runs and then Zephyr Needle. And then I played like, what did I do? I did 3 up sticks and runs, Zephyr Needle. I think I passed actually after that. Yeah. But like, this list is good, right? Unlike Syndra, who you're going, balls to the walls aggro, this is one that like you can, hey, I said it in the video. They shouldn't have printed Shelter from the Storm, but because they did, we're running 3 of them, right? We got 3 Sync Belows. We got our Flick Flacks. You could probably even take those out for Fate for Scenes. Might even be better if you don't want to run like crappy blue combo cards and just run like better utility cards. Maybe, but I think Ira's going to be... Ira's up here for sure. Ira's definitely a best deck. Dual Threat is also pretty good. I see it. I get the vision. I block too much to run Dual Threat in Ira. Because you need like 3 other cards for that to be good. You need a pitch card, right? You actually need like 4 other cards to get the full value out of that. You pitch a card, which pays for a weapon. You play an attack action. Then you play Dual Threat, swing your weapon again, and attack action. So you need like at least 4 cards to get the full value off of that. And I am like playing off 3 and 2 card hands a lot. Yeah, you can use the boots every chain link, and they don't destroy themselves when the chain closes. So they're pretty gross. They're going to be expensive. and they might not be as devastating as I think they are. I think they're the most powerful piece of equipment that's ever been printed, other than Tunic. Because I give it a lot more. I say that because I put a lot of stock in things being generic. So, all right, let's keep moving. Viscerai has been a top deck, but I think they are just not really able to handle the disruption, in my opinion, to be like S tier. They're still insane, right? You can still you can run it pretty defensively. You can still stack up 20 rune chants and then just go nuts. I don't think that Viscerai is going to be as good. And I think that Syndra is a better aggro hero. I think the assassins are going to mess them up a bit. And you lose one card in Viscerai, you can really ruin your whole hand. So that's some, yeah. So let's go. We wanted to talk about Fi. Taylor wanted to talk about Fi. It's not a deck that I have a lot of experience playing, and it's not a deck that I really know playing against. I don't know the sequencing. I don't know what I never really learned Fi enough to know what's difficult about the sequencing. It has always seemed to me just go, just do it. But let's go back here. Let's see what. Oh, if I got a ton of support. This is a Syndra card. This can be Fi. If I can run this. Doesn't make use of fealty tokens. This is a great Fi card. Oh, well, you have to make a fealty token. Or you brand it. Okay. This is probably a great Fi card. I think the rares and the commons might be where Fi gets more support. I think Fi is definitely showing up. I'm not ready to say Fi is... Look, Fi's showing up, but Fi players are playing Syndra, right? The people who were ride or die with Fi, I think they're all moving to Syndra. There's no new Phoenix Flame interaction. There is new tech for Kodachis that is probably I haven't brewed it. I don't know, but the new chest piece is really good. It's really good. You can generate 3 resources in a turn. So Kodachi Fi could definitely be a thing. However, I feel Fi is kind of a blank space for me. And I think I'd rather just run Syndra. So I'm going to say Fi is going to be showing up. I don't think Fi is going to be busted. I think there's going to be about 7 videos in the next 24 hours that say Fi is insane now. Fi is so broken. Oh my God. Maybe not. I do think Prism's pretty cracked. Look at these heroes. What don't they run? They don't run poppers, with the exception of these two run poppers here. These two will have poppers, but Prism, I was saying, I think it's crazy this card that Prism got. Oh my God. The more I think about it, the oh my God. It just absolutely hoses Vincent, Katsu, maybe Levia on one of their late game terms, but I don't think that's a good matchup anyway. Who else plays from Banish? I don't think it's gonna really affect Zen. Zen, you have to know how the link step works. You can pitch a chi and tutor a card in the link step. and Prism doesn't have the ability to activate. At least Prism did not have the ability to activate Halo to go get the Themis Figment and stop you from playing that turn out. So I think that, like, I don't think Zen will be touched, but again, Zen's LLing like right away. I think Prism's going to be pretty gross. I always get nervous if like they give heroes that are really good, have a lot of ward, but run a lot of like pearls, a 3-block. And this one is just like, it can either, it's a 3-block that either A, gives an angel +4. So your turn ends up being like Herald of Erudition for 5 dominate, draw some cards, get a Figment, awaken the Figment for free, attack with it for 8, draw 2 cards off that, like, and then probably send a 7 with maybe an aura setup. Like, it's gonna be pretty gross. I would probably say she's here. I don't think she's going to be like these. Sorry, like Viserai, Syndra, and Ira will do a fine job of like keeping her somewhat in check. But like Phantasmaclasm's not a popper because it can't be illusionist. So I think like I don't know. I think she's gonna be pretty good right now. I also think KO's gonna be good. KO's always good. Where do I think KO goes? I don't know where I think KO goes. Let me check my notes real quick that I had up before I started recording. We'll see. Oh, I had KO right behind Prism, and I think that's fair. Like, you can still hit your Blood Rush turns, go pretty nutty. And I think we're going to get a little bloat in A. So I might start moving some heroes down to B. Because what I would really like is, like, I want most of heroes showing up in B. And then, like, we'll get more in C. So I think, like, I actually don't know if I think these heroes are, like, C tier. But yeah, I think KO's pretty good. I think KO's going to be there. And maybe KO's better than this because of the amount of, like, poor blocks there are. And not just no blocks, but, like, 2 blocks. Which is why, like, you can run a super aggressive Ira list. And right now I'm just like, no, I like blocking, right? Let's talk about a hero that loves blocking. It's Florian. I'm going to be honest. I don't think I've ever beat a Florian. Like, I'm really terrible in this matchup. I don't get what you're supposed to do about Florian. Because they seem to just always have... They start with Fruits of the Forest. They've got their root bounds as soon as they need them. Like, I really struggle against Florian. And I play, like, aggro heroes, like, so I'm kind of feeling like this is hard now. Now this is hard because I have to choose between. I have to choose between my favorite heroes, right? So it's not just like Florian. Here's the thing. Okay, this is Florian is going down here. And the reason why, Gibbous, every blue in their hand late game is a 1-card 5 mixed damage. They're pretty threatening late game. But Syndra and Fang mean that Erase Face goes way up. We talked about this earlier. Syndra and Fang means Erase Face is much, much more commonly run, and that's going to really hurt both of these heroes. But it is essentially hitting Florian for a humble because it hits Verdance and Florian, and it humbles them because they do not have Earth cards in their banish zone, right? So yeah, I do think. I do think Victor's better, but yeah, this is probably where I'd have it, right? Yeah, that's fine. Let's get her out of the way. I said we were gonna talk about Mistveil early. I didn't. Ugh. New's a better assassin. I don't know that for sure yet. Didn't he LL? Did Zen LL? No. No. Slippy and Nacilio can move down. I agree. They were. I was looking at that a second ago. I was like, we're really bloating here, and what was I talking about? What's I talking about? Talking about nothing right now. Talk about nothing. Talk about new. Okay. Yeah, new's probably. I mean, what does new struggle against right now? Because new players I'm hearing are like not afraid of Enigma anymore, which is like terrifying to me. Like new's like, no, I don't care about Enigma. Yeah, you know what? I do think this is pretty fair. New just like has gross cards. It's gonna be interesting to see how much worse. It's gonna be really interesting to see how much worse Syndra is on a 3-card hand versus a 4-card hand. Because Zen has the problem where like that's pretty big for Zen. Even though Zen can like pitch chi and still go 3 chain links wide or, some bullshit. But Zen, like, if you take the card they need, like, especially if you can select which card, why aren't more people subscribing to you? You have fantastic content. That's really nice to you, of you to say. Thank you so much. I'm sure they're just busy. I don't know. But we're just happy to be growing. It's great to have a chat going. Last time I did this, we had a couple people, and now I've had chat all night. It's really beautiful. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see like how much worse these heroes get with like removal from their hand. Because I can tell you, if I'm against a new, and let's say they hit us with the old. This guy, take up the mantle. And they're like, hey, this innocuous stealth card is actually an ugly boy. And that ugly boy is Persuasive Prognosis. I'm going to take a card out of your hand. It's like, yeah, whatever. Like, I'm Ira. I didn't need that card anyway. That card is an extra blue Flusterfist. I was putting that in my arsenal. Yeah, I think that Ira is going to beat New, but I think that New might beat Syndra. And okay. Oh man, this might be a hot take. Here's the triangle that I'm starting to see. It's not a complete triangle. New beats Syndra. Ira beats New. This is 50-50. If that's the case, I think that's a good... I don't know, because I think she's explosive enough that other heroes, she can just take them down. But I do think among these three, I would most want to be on Ira right now, not having seen the peak of what Syndra can do. I'm going to say that I would be on Ira. I am going to be on Ira. I'll show you my list. I'm showing everyone. No one's going to be surprised about a single card in my deck in RTN season. And that's what being a content creator is about. That's the sacrifice we make. I'll Also, I don't care if you're spending that much time to get intel on what I'm doing. I don't think you're winning. If you're that worried about me, I don't think you're winning an invite. So I do think, yeah, I think that like of this top tier, I think the hero with the worst matchups among these three is Syndra. But I think that everything below, Syndra's probably got the best matchups. Like Syndra's gonna have the best Enigma matchup. I don't know who's gonna have the best Arachne matchup. I think it's Ira actually. I think Syndra just races Viserai. So I do think that like Ira's probably the best in her own tier, but like below, yeah, we got that. Let me paint a picture of a simpler time. A time when Draconic heroes when Draconic still meant something. The Hunted, they're not sending their best, right? There was a game where a guy named Arthur Trehay played against another guy. And I forget that guy's name. And that guy has top 8'd so much shit. And it'll come to me. But Hatchet Story used to be a thing. Let's go up. Let's go here again and just see how much of this cares specifically about daggers, because this doesn't, and I think this can be used in hatchets if you don't have ways to easily give them go again. Pretty good, right? You can easily give your hatchets go again with this. We have this cares obviously about this. This turns on reprised. Insane. And oh, look, a reaction that makes damage unpreventable. The rest of this is dagger stuff. We got dagger. I don't know if Quicksilver Dagger Dorinthia is a real deck. Haven't tested it. Not gonna test it. That's just not my thing. I'll let other people tell me if that's a real deck. If I see enough Josh Lau content on it, then yeah. But I think Dorinthia is going to be pretty good. I think Dorinthia is probably pretty good, but they printed that new D-React and them boots, didn't they? They gave you new boots, didn't they? They gave you some reaction boots, didn't they? It's a rough time to be a Dorinthia player when you all got them reaction boots. Oh, Dorinthia is definitely showing up, right? Dorinthia is absolutely showing up. I don't know, man. Like, could it be is it a time of like block 2, send 2? Because I don't know, man. I think Dorinthia, that third attack on like Quicksilver Dagger or hatchets, like when you're two-handing in Dorinthia, that third attack is a pretty cool one. Pretty nasty. Her new headpiece is just, how funny is it that they gave Warrior a legendary headpiece and that headpiece is Warrior hate? I love it. I'm gonna go on a bold prediction. I think she's gonna be really good. I think she's gonna be the second best warrior, probably. So let's just talk about the other warriors. Some people will show up on Olympia, and I don't think Olympia is as bad as it used to be. Let's fill out the D tier. Can we just do that? Olympia, Betsy, Bravo, Teklo. Boom, 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 boom. Max is C tier because Max has the shotgun. Sorry to run right through that. I know it's fun to just shit on these heroes all day, but look at this crew. They are a sorry bunch. Um, so I'm not really worried about these guys, but Dorinthia getting that additional attack, I think, if we do see Quicksilver builds, is going to be really good. You also only have to give the first one go again, right? That Quicksilver is going to have. Okay, Dylan, that might be true. The new Max might be like one of the worst heroes in the game. Yeah, that's a fair. No. Max is fine. Max is better than that. Watching that kid, the Maxler, play Max on stream was the most fun I've had watching Swiss rounds in Flesh and Blood ever. I was freaking out. Max versus Kasai, and this kid he's like, how many cards are you running? And he's like, I don't know. He's like, what's your sideboard? And he's like, I don't have one. Mwah. That kid is awesome. I love that kid. But yeah, okay. I do think that oh man. You're right though. Just banishing cards. I don't know. I'm gonna put him there. Let's talk about Fang. Since we're on to Warriors, I think Fang is just gonna have an easier time doing what Dory, like, what makes Hatchet Story so good, which is he legit mainboarded like 68 cards or something. Yeah, I mean that's a good call. Like if you're Max, like sometimes I just gotta post through the pain. You know, I just get online and I just start saying stuff. That kid was boosting through the pain. He didn't have high octane. He didn't need it. He was just boosting through it. I think Fang's probably going to be. I think Fang is probably going to be maybe up here. Like I think Fang's going to be really good, especially like once you turn on your fealties, like you have your daggers for free. Fang is to me what like a lot of what one of my like favorite Magic archetypes was, which is like extra combat steps, because Fang is going to give his daggers, like there's going to be a couple different Fang approaches, right? They're all going to be dagger based. Some of them are going to be Cheerios mixed with daggers. Some of them are going to be maybe not Cheerios, but draconic attacks that just get better, or warrior attacks that get better if they mark. Actually, do they have? No, we don't have those. We don't have warrior attack actions. So we'll have Quicksilver. We'll have Obsidian Dagger. We'll have a Cheerios list. We'll have an OTK list. And so I think the OTK list is going to be like you put down a bunch of your auras. You maybe stack your auras so that you just have like all it basically it's just like a double blood on her hands, you know. You get the go again, you get the +1, but you get 2 additional swings, right? Played 2 pledge fealty turn 1 on Fang and just left them. Yeah. Honestly, that Fang is one of the exciting parts of like being a FAB fan. I don't like the alliteration there. Just like a fan of TCGs, right? To look at the hero ability and be like, dude, this hero's gonna suck. And then you see the card pool and you're like, I wasn't familiar with your game. God damn. I was not familiar with your game, sir. Okay. So Fang's good. All right. Like, and also here's the other thing I'm going to say. I think both of these heroes, like, obviously no one missed the, like, if you hit a marked opponent, make a fealty on Fang. Guys, mark people in Syndra. It gets a lot better when you do. Like, fealty tokens are kind of what the Draconic class from this set is designed around. you should make them. So I do think that Fang is going to be like pretty gross. They're definitely going to have a lot of momentum. Man, I'm so curious about this matchup. They're going to be able to have a lot of momentum, but I do think that like when they stumble, right? Like when they have a turn where they just have to block out, or you strip cards out of their hand or whatever, and you pop all of their fealty, like, maybe the windows are big enough that like they fold to new or other disruptive heroes. But you know what? I have a hard time believing that Fang is going to be. No, that's fair. Fang's probably better than Enigma. I know Syndra's a thing. It's going to be a cursed matchup for Enigma. We got a boring rest of this list here. Verdance. Feels good into Assassin. That's interesting. I wouldn't expect that. Also, by the way, new chest piece, old chest piece. New chest piece, old chest piece. I don't want to see you on Furnace in Syndra. I don't want to see you on Furnace. Run that new chest piece. That shit's crazy. Furnace is still really good. It blocks 2, you make a bunch of resources. I think the better one is going to be the new chest piece. But I do think that Fang is definitely on Furnace over Grains. Grains is definitely you know what? Grains is such a good option. Like, Grains is always a really good option. No, it's a Furnace deck. If it's redline enough, it's not going to have additional resources, and it's just going to want to keep the card in arsenal. So I would run Furnace here, but you could run Grains. Maybe it's good. I also bought Furnace at $30. I bought Furnace at $30 at Camp Green Tree, and I was like, well, I'm going to need this eventually. Hell yeah. I also sold my Stalagmite at like 15. Hell no. Also, I have 2 Flick Knives. Hell yeah. But anyway, Verdance. Here's the thing about Verdance. Tempo deck, cool finisher, has combos, life gain. Everyone knows Verdance. Everybody knows Verdance, right? We all know Verdance. Ring of Roses. A fucking great addition to her kit. And it needed to be at Legendary. I don't see anywhere in this list where I'm like, yeah, it's Verdance's time. I think Verdance... It's like probably top of C. I think it's probably top of C. Mask of Momentum, first... You know what? Actually, Dylan, first card I ever bought in this game as a single was Mask of Momentum. And I got into this game in Michigan, in Traverse City, Michigan, because I went to a Commander night. And it turns out I hate Commander. After playing it for like 5 years, I realized like this game just makes me mad and I don't like this scene. And they were like, you should get into Flesh and Blood. And the people there I was talking to were like, oh yeah, you get into Flesh and Blood. And I was like, I love Katsu. Katsu's my guy. This is it. And they were like, hey, you should watch TCG Talk. You were the first Flesh and Blood content creator that I was recommended. And then you got into Assassins because it was during Outsiders. So you were also the first Flesh and Blood player to betray me. No. Just kidding. But yeah, Mask of Momentum, I got it for the Realm Brawl in Pittsburgh 2 years ago. At it was in August, I think. It was a Realm Brawl. I bought the Mask of Momentum for the guy for $60, but before I bought it, he just gave it to me and was like, "You come into town." My parents have a place up there, and he was like, "You come into town every so often, yeah?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "All right, we'll just like get into the game, and next time you're up, like you'll have gone to a tournament and you'll have what you need to compete, and you can give it back to me then, or you can buy it." And so I bought it for $60. I believe that guy's name was Mike. He was a cool guy in Michigan. And I haven't been up to Michigan in a while, but there's some really good people up there, really good Flesh and Blood players in Traverse City that were very helpful for getting me into the game. Dude, I've played so much with the new card, and I was like, here's where I was on Katsu. This is where I was on Katsu. And then they printed the new stuff, and I was like, in the toilet, never wins another armory again. All right, moving on. Azalea. I'm so disrespectful at the brawl and didn't even know. Uh, oh, that's so funny. So my first round at that brawl, I was Katsu against a Dromai player, and I go into the round. I'm like, I've never played against Droma. I don't think I even tell him this, but I get my ass handed to me. And I was like, dude, what was I supposed to do in that matchup? And he was like, you're supposed to attack the dragons. You never cleared a dragon once. And I was like, yeah, if I attacked the dragon, you were just going to block. And he was like, I can't do that. And I was like, am I really favored in this matchup? And he was like, heavily. I was like, hold on. Yeah. Oh my God. Capo. Dude, I've put together when I first sent the list, I was like, is this a list you're on? He said I was 12 cards off and that I was thinking too hard. And I should look at like it's just they're simpler cards. I'm telling you, I don't wanna get into, I don't wanna talk shit on people I don't know on the internet. But that guy's trolling. He said Katsu was better before, or is better now than he was with Art of War and Bonds, and no one was like, "Hey, you're trolling." Like, I think we just got baited. But yeah, we'll get there. We'll get those 6 cards. They're what's really gonna turn the tide. Azalea, dude, I think Azalea is worse than Riptide right now. I think Azalea is worse than Riptide because no traps, no real traps. But let me double check my notes and see what yeah, I did put her. I put her lower than Riptide. Yeah. There's too much rune chance above. Like Redline Azalea decks are gonna really struggle with the amount of rune chance, and Azalea's this deck that like for a year, for the entire year, was just on like this steady downward trend, where it was like heavy hitters. There was some conversation of like, Azalea, is she the best deck? Brody Spurlock plays her all the time. She must be the best deck, right? Heavy hitters came out and it was like, wow, we're not really seeing all that much Azalea. Like, where is all the Azalea? We've got like Levia, we've got Dorinthia and KO and Victor, but not that much Azalea. Even Katsu was a good hero then, right? Azuri was a good hero, and it was like, yeah, but where's Azalea? She's got to be like, she's got to be like right here. And then Mistveil came out, and it was just like you didn't hear about her ever since then. So I think that she's gonna struggle in this upcoming meta. Yeah, maybe she has some counterplay into Syndra, but probably not. You can always also flick a dagger even if you can only play one action. And then, as long as that was draconic, you just need 2 more resources to get that dagger. Well, no, you need 3 because it reduces for the chain. So, actually, no, you flick it, it breaks. Yeah, you just flick a dagger. Yeah, I think it'll be fine. I think Azalea's not so good right now. Really interesting one. Really interesting one here. Okay. So it wouldn't take much for her to be up here, right? Like her points are high enough. Honestly, Viserai's points are high enough that like maybe by week 2, Viserai could go if Viserai's better than I'm expecting. I probably put Dash like here. Dash hasn't LL'd yet because like Mist Veil. Like it was just another thing of like Dash probably doesn't play well against Enigma. Dash now has some really cool anti-mystic tech with that like null time zone because you can just name like inner chi and then they can't pitch their chi. And so like transcending doesn't have value. You'd be better off. Like at that point, you're better off just pitching your outer chi, right? So that later you can like get if you have benefits from transcending. You probably only have benefits from like pitching chi and Enigma, but like that's a good tech for Mistveil heroes. She does have 9 T-bones that she can run. Maybe she's up here. Maybe she's like way better than I'm thinking. Yeah, I think she'd probably be pretty good. If you just go Teklo Pounder, right? Like I think that's the move is you just go Teklo Pounder and you run that as like a utility and maybe you go Teklo Pounder and Shotgun. I don't think she's going to be better than Dorinthia. I don't think she's going to be better than Prism. Or KO. Maybe Phi. I've heard from top Dash players they think D goes well into Enigma even after bans, but not OG Dash. Yeah. Yeah. I do think Dio's like dead. Like dead. Like have fun ever hitting a boom grenade again, ever. Not gonna happen. Also too many no blocks, too much disruption. I think Dio's bad. Again, these are just my takes. Like you could totally disagree. You'd be like, no, Dio's great. So let's see. Kano. Can I just put like Kano like that actually does seem fair. There's going to be enough red line decks, right? Kano's probably around here. I'm not going to worry too much about Kano. It's Kano. I don't know. I don't know what to say. Kano's probably the best wizard still. Is Kano the best wizard? He's the best at doing wizardy things. Cilio feels kind of low. No, that's fine. All right, let's just like bang these out, right? It's getting kind of late. It's 10:30. Azuri. Azuri got a lot better. Azuri got a lot better because stealth became more relevant and because the Chelicera, it's called like Calicera or something, but I think Chelicera is funny. So graphene Calicera allows you to swing a dagger and then like stealth in. You know, you swap out your dagger, send in CNC, so you can do like a 1-card hand CNC with a tunic. That's good. I don't think that plays like good enough to make her fantastic. Like it definitely catches you off guard, but but Slippy is sending like is flicking a toxicity at you. So like when it comes to the ability to like do things like that, Slippy has like less hoops to jump through. Because you don't have to make the dagger every time, and you have to always remake that dagger. But disruption's really good. Really good disruption. Let's take a look again here, just sort of see. Oh my god, it's a cycle. Oh my god, it's a cycle. I don't even think I realized that Mark of the Black Widow and Mark of the Funnel Web were a cycle. I probably did because I brewed them already. There's enough support for Azuri and just stealth in general. Let's see. What do I think they run stealth-wise? I think they might run... The big question for me for Azuri is if they're on Clave. And I think they are. I think you're on Clave because I would rather mark a hero and then send this than I would like hit with an Orbitoclast and then send Infect, right? So I do think you're marking heroes. I don't know if you're running Whittle to the Whittle from Bone, but you're probably running this. Yeah, you're definitely running this. You're probably running this. In fact, you're definitely running both of these cards, right? Man, I say Azuri's probably going to be around here. Yeah, I agree. She gets a lot of help, but I don't know that she's Yeah, I don't think she's A tier, right? I think she's definitely showing up. I think she's definitely a contender. I don't want to put Kano at low rep because like they're gonna come out. They smell it in the water. They're like, everyone's on reds. Levia didn't get anything this set. What does that mean for Levia? She didn't get anything this set. Kasai cares about swords and all this stuff was daggers. So she got like 3 cards, you know? Oh, wait. I'm totally missing like an important part of the card pool, which is the warrior the warrior assassin ones. Cares about dagger. Cares about dagger. Cares about dagger. Dagger. These are all dagger. Kasai got nothing. The 6 attack, 6 block in Levia. Okay, I could see that. Kasai really got nothing. You could maybe like do a Kasai build where you run attack actions. I think Sound the Alarm is just like the best card in the set. I don't know that she runs it, but I just wanted to point out that I think Sound the Alarm is dope. Yeah, you know what? Kasai, I'm like feeling real low on Kasai. I'm feeling Kasai is like probably there. I'm not interested in Kasai. Yeah, honestly, I'm kind of all over the place because it's 10:30 and my girlfriend called me to say goodnight. And I wanna get back to her. Levia. Let me double check where did because I had some notes before I started the stream. I did like an initial one of these so I wasn't going in blind. Oh, it's perfect. It's exactly where I wanted to put Levia. Like down here. Yeah, this is... I think this is pretty good. I think this is about where I want things to be. Yeah. I think the only thing left to do is just like take a picture of this, post it on Blue Sky, and then and then harass the dev team for why they printed that new D-React. Just kidding. Don't harass the dev team. That's a horrible idea. Don't do it. But I do not like the new D-React, and I'm going to be running them. I don't like it for selfish reasons and for altruistic reasons. I don't like it because it's just going to homogenize a lot of decks, but I also don't like it because I don't want to spend the money on that. Sync Below is like a common or a rare. It was fine. Harass them about the Warrior Helm? No. Don't harass anyone about anything. This is me telling you that would make you bad. I would be mad at you. All right, guys. I'm going to end the stream so I can go call my girlfriend and, you know, we're going to talk about Flesh and Blood. That's what we do. She and I, we just go back and forth. God, she really loves Mistvale. Yeah, warrior on warrior violence. That's definitely